Codex, OpenAI's code-generating AI, just locked up developer prompts with end-to-end encryption, and nobody outside the code community even noticed. For 3 years straight, when you sent instructions to Codex, those prompts traveled unencrypted across the internet. Anyone with the right access, hostile governments, ISPs, hackers, could intercept and read exactly what you asked the AI to do. Your proprietary algorithms, your business logic, your secret techniques, all of it visible to anyone listening in. That's like sending a blueprint from your house to a bank in an unsealed envelope. Every postal worker sees your secrets. Today, that changed completely. End-to-end encryption means only you and Codex can read your prompts now. It's the same protection WhatsApp uses for messages applied to your AI interactions. This isn't some niche security feature for paranoid developers. It's a fundamental change in how enterprises can trust their AI assistants with sensitive work. Code is competitive advantage. Your prompts are your blueprint. Keeping them private matters more than most people realize. And here's what makes this a pivotal moment. If OpenAI is moving this direction, GitHub Copilot, Claude Code, and every other AI coding tool will be forced to catch up or lose enterprise developers to the security-conscious players. Here's the thing: for years, developers just accepted that their Codex interactions weren't private. You sent a prompt, the system processed it, you got code back. Simple. But if you think about what travels in those prompts, it's terrifying. Imagine you're building a payment system for a fintech startup. You ask Codex, show me how to handle authentication for high-value transactions. That prompt contains your approach, your security thinking, your architecture choices. All of it crosses the internet unencrypted. A competitor who intercepts that, they've got your playbook. Nation-states monitoring development traffic, they see your defensive vulnerabilities before you do. The supply chain attacks that made headlines in 2024 and 2025, many started by intercepting unencrypted developer communications. GitHub saw this risk first. They started pushing Copilot security. Then Claude started talking about privacy. Now OpenAI's hand was forced. Enterprises started demanding encryption before they'd even consider using Codex at scale. Banking customers wanted guarantees. Healthcare teams wouldn't touch it without privacy protections. So OpenAI faced a choice: add encryption or lose the biggest contracts. They chose encryption. But the real question is, what took them 3 years? And why didn't they lead on this? Let's break down what end-to-end encryption actually means, because the term gets thrown around a lot and it's worth understanding. Imagine you're sending a letter to a friend. In the old way, no encryption, you put the letter in an envelope and hand it to the postal service. Everyone who touches it can open it and read it. The postal worker, the truck driver, the sorter, everyone. That was Codex before today. Your prompts went unencrypted, so every server between you and OpenAI could read them. Now imagine you put that letter in a locked box before handing it to the post office. You have the only key. Your friend has the only key. Nobody else, not the postal service, not the delivery person, nobody can open it. That's end-to-end encryption. When you send a prompt to Codex now, it gets locked with a cryptographic key that only your device and the Codex server have. The infrastructure in between, routers, ISPs, OpenAI's own internal logs, they all see data traveling but can't read it. It's scrambled noise. Even if someone captured that traffic, they'd get meaningless characters. The encryption happens on your device before it leaves. OpenAI's servers decrypt it once. Then the response gets encrypted before being sent back to you. This is the gold standard in security. It's what banks use, what governments use, what WhatsApp uses. And now Codex uses it too. So what actually changes for developers using Codex today? First, the practical stuff. You can now ask Codex to help build sensitive financial systems without worrying that your request is being logged somewhere unencrypted on some OpenAI server that could be breached. That alone is huge. A major bank just committed to using Codex for critical infrastructure because of this change. They ran their security audit, saw end-to-end encryption was enabled, and signed the contract. 3 months ago, they wouldn't even test Codex. The same thing's happening across healthcare, fintech, and defense contracting. Second, intellectual property stops leaking through your AI interactions. You ask Codex to help design your company's proprietary authentication system. That knowledge stays between you and the AI now. A competitor can't intercept it. A nation-state can't gather it through network surveillance. Third, compliance just got easier. HIPAA-regulated healthcare systems can now use AI code generation without losing their minds over privacy violations. GDPR-regulated European companies can use Codex on customer data systems. Australian regulations, checkmark. The security requirement was the blocker, not the AI itself. With encryption, the compliance argument disappears. Enterprises that had AI code assistance on a wish list can suddenly move it to active deployment. That's millions of developers worldwide who were previously locked out of this tool. So how does this compare to the competition? GitHub Copilot, probably the most popular AI code assistant right now, added encryption support months ago, but it's optional. You have to turn it on in settings. Most individual developers don't. Most companies haven't. Copilot's position was always it's targeting individual developers, so privacy was nice to have. Claude's approach from Anthropic was different. They announced privacy protections early and made them default on. But Claude didn't have the market share, so the announcement didn't change the industry. Now OpenAI's done the same thing, but Codex has massive enterprise traction. Major companies use it. Universities use it. When Codex raises the bar, competitors have to follow fast or they look negligent. GitHub's already talking about making encryption default on for Copilot by end of year. Anthropic's positioning themselves as privacy first from day one. But here's the thing, none of this technology is new. Encryption has existed for decades. The question was why it took AI code assistants so long to implement it. Financial software had encryption for 15 years. Email had encryption for 20 years. Medical systems had encryption for decades. The gap came because AI was moving fast and security was treated as a bonus feature, not foundational. Now the industry's correcting that mistake. Every AI coding tool entering 2027 will have encryption as baseline, or they won't survive enterprise scrutiny. This encryption change signals something bigger about how the AI industry thinks about enterprise trust. For the past 3 years, AI companies treated user data as a pricing mechanism. You trade privacy for access to the tool. Your prompts help train models. Your data is the product. That model worked for free tiers and individual hobbyists. It broke down the moment enterprises wanted to use this stuff. Companies spending millions don't trade intellectual property for a code assistant. So we are watching the AI industry make a hard pivot. Encryption isn't about hobbyists or individual developers. It's about enterprises saying no more. It's about countries regulating AI use in critical infrastructure. It's about customers demanding their data stays private. And when enterprise customers demand something, the whole market follows. That's what happened with cloud security 10 years ago. That's what happened with mobile security 5 years ago. That's what's happening with AI now. We're also watching an implicit trade-off emerge. If your prompts are encrypted, OpenAI can't use them to train better models as easily. Encrypted data can't be mined for patterns. That means future Codex versions might improve slower because they are working with less training data. Or OpenAI charges more to make up for the lost data advantage. Either way, there's a cost to privacy. But for enterprises, it's a cost worth paying. And here's the bigger implication. This is the moment AI moved from a consumer novelty into critical infrastructure. You don't encrypt toys, you encrypt systems that matter. Okay, practically speaking, how do you actually enable this? If you're using Codex through the web interface or through an IDE extension, encryption is on by default now. You don't have to do anything, it just works. Send a prompt, it gets encrypted on your device. Codex decrypts it. You get your code back. If you're using Codex through an API call, maybe you've built a custom tool that talks to Codex. You need to check your integration. OpenAI released new SDKs that support encryption out of the box. If you're using an old SDK from 2 years ago, grab the latest version. The switch is seamless. One line of code change in most cases. For enterprises integrating Codex into internal tools, there's a configuration step. Your security team needs to validate that encryption is enabled, keys are being rotated properly, and you're not storing unencrypted prompts anywhere. That's a checklist conversation with your IT team. The OpenAI documentation covers it in detail. If you're building something custom on top of Codex and you want to ensure maximum privacy, use their enterprise API tier. It gives you dedicated infrastructure and guarantees about data handling. Most mid-size and large companies are moving to this tier specifically because of encryption. If you're a solo developer using Codex for personal projects, you're already covered. Just update to the latest version and you're done. The beautiful part about this is it's not a feature you have to earn or request. It's just the baseline now. So where does this take us? This is the inflection point for how AI tools and enterprise trust coexist. Codex's encryption move isn't the end of the story, it's the beginning. We're going to see three things happen rapidly. First, every major AI coding assistant will add the same protection because they have no choice. GitHub will make Copilot encryption default on. Anthropic will keep emphasizing their privacy-first approach. Smaller competitors will use encryption as their differentiator. By 2027, unencrypted AI coding tools won't exist in the enterprise space. Second, encryption becomes table stakes for all AI tools, not just coding. If your AI assistant processes sensitive data, customer information, medical records, legal documents, users will demand the same encryption standard. That's the precedent Codex just set. Third, the business model question gets harder. Companies building AI tools have to figure out how to improve their models when they can't easily access user data for training. Some will charge more, some will rely on synthetic data, some will invest more in research. But the free forever model for AI tools accessing your private work is probably over. You're either the product, your data trains the model, or you're the customer, you pay for privacy. There's no middle ground anymore. Follow for daily AI news to stay ahead of how this reshapes every tool you use.